Now, look, I didn't want to talk about global warming again, but sweet heaven, that's all I'm hearing at the moment. Global warming, global warming, global warming. In the papers, in Parliament, on the radio, and especially on the ABC, our national broadcaster is so hysterical, so obsessed, that even some of his audience were today begging for mercy from one of the ABC's biggest, warmest crusaders, Fran Kelly. She read out a response.
A lot of response on the issue of climate change this morning. Some of you wish we'd stop talking about it. One says, Fran, you're not the government. You're a well-paid ABC employee paid for by my son's hard work. We're sick of the ABC bossing the whole country. We are sick of the climate change mantra.
Now, maybe you feel exactly the same about the topic, but this sludge we're hearing has got to be taken on. I mean, take the new Greens leader, Adam Bandt. I mean, wow, the hate from that man. He sounds demented, like he's ready to go shoot a few bosses.
Big business that makes its money by killing people and endangering people's safety should be worried. If you're a coal company or a gas company or an oil company, then our message to you is very simple. Your business model is unsustainable. Your business model is predicated on threatening human life, and they have to go.
Well, actually wrong, Mr. Green extremist. The business model of the coal, gas and petrol companies is actually predicated not on threatening human life, but on making it better. I mean, that's why we actually buy their stuff. We buy their coal for cheap and reliable electricity. We buy their petrol for our cars. We buy their gas to go heat our homes so we're not shivering in winter. I mean, it's just this idea that these companies are out there killing people and that's for their plan. I mean, give me a break. The warming we're seeing, Australia's contribution to that is so small, you couldn't even measure it. And I'd say that Bandt's rant exposes one business model, all right, and it's the business model of Mr. Bandt and his Greens. It's to peddle fear and peddle deceit and scare people stupid. I mean, ugh. But now I think it's time for the Liberals to get off the fence and fight back with facts. Now, yes, I was glad today to hear the Prime Minister say no to setting even tougher targets for cutting our emissions. I was glad because the cuts we're already making have already destroyed virtually the system that once gave us reliable and cheap electricity.
Don't be bullied into higher taxes or higher electricity prices. I'm going to focus on the stuff that works, the stuff that actually reduces risk, and the stuff that ensures that people can be safer in summer.
Now that is good, but it's not good enough. The Liberals and the Nationals really now have got to have the courage to start taking on the extremist argument. Because no one is convinced right now about this Liberal cringing approach, you know, their line that, yes, global warming is terrible, we know that, we really know it's a real threat to human life, to civilisation, but we Liberals promise to do less than Labor to stop it. How's that a winning argument? I mean, what should they do instead? Well, I think they should start telling the truth. Every time a Labor or a Greens MP gets up and says something stupid about global warming, expose them. Expose warmists like Labor MP Josh Burns and the inanities he was babbling today.
There is no debate. The planet is warming.
Josh, hello. Everyone knows the planet has warmed slightly over the past century. No one is debating that. I never have. It seems to me you clearly do not understand the real argument. You and it seems the entire ABC. It is this. Exactly how much of that warming is man-made? There's a debate there. Is that warming really bad or, on the whole, actually good? Another debate. And is the cost of trying to stop that warming actually worth it? Would the pain be worth the gain? Let's have the cost and weigh it against the benefit. That is the real debate, and the Liberals cannot keep dodging it. And those few that do dare go out there and say, I'm a sceptic, they cannot go out in public as unprepared as the otherwise admirable Senator Jim Molan was on Q&A this week, and leading to him getting rattled by the heckling of an ABC audience.
What is the evidence that you are relying on?
I'm not relying on evidence, Hamish. I am saying...
No, let me show you a much better way that does involve evidence. Do you know, there was one good thing about Senator Matt Canavan this week, quitting as Resources Minister. You saw him explain his decisions on this show earlier the week, to resigning to back Barnaby Joyce in his failed challenge of the Nationals leader, Michael McCormack. Now, OK, bad news, we lost a talented minister, one of the most talented. On the bright side, we gained in Canavan a backbencher who is now, unlike a minister, free to speak his mind. And he speaks it as a man informed on climate science. And last night, Canavan, the new backbencher, did speak, pushing back against the hysteria of warmers like Adam Bandt, with the cool science that the ABC, for one, tends to ignore, like the science from a report by the CSIRO and Bureau of Meteorology, a report that suggests that these fires weren't caused by man-made global warming, which, by the way, it concedes is also helping plants to grow better.
Let me be very, very clear. We have experienced more fire weather days. But what you won't find, I think, from almost any commentator on this issue is that the report goes on to say that, however, this is a direct quote from the CSIRO and the Bureau of Meteorology, however, no studies explicitly attributing the Australian increase in fire weather to climate change have been performed at this time. The reason why it's been hard to establish the direct link between fires and climate change is because they could have counteracting impacts. As a scientific paper titled Effects of Climate Change on Bushfire Threats in Biodiversity, Ecosystem Processes and People in the Sydney region says, and I quote, effects of elevated carbon dioxide on plant growth could counteract effects of future dryness on fuels, but such effects in local ecosystems are uncertain. Thus, there is potential for fire activity to either increase or decrease in the Sydney region as a consequence of climate change.
Now, OK, you don't hear that from the ABC, do you? Or from those Labor MPs shouting, the scientific debate is over. Global warming is making these fires worse, causing these fires. Because here, instead, are reports by our own scientists from actually warmist organisations, they're not sceptics, our own scientists saying global warming could actually make the fire risk around Sydney less. Less. Perhaps greater, yes, but perhaps less. Liberals, Nationals, guys, start studying and start arguing.